That sounds
3:04?
good. And I just started the recording, and I can do the live transcript if you guys want. Paul, request that. Do you want me to turn that on or not? The closed caption? Okay,
Makes no difference to me. Does anyone else have any say so in that?
I'll just put it on. There it is.
Okay,
Done.
okay. Well, with that, Corla, can you please bring up the meeting minutes from last month's meeting, and let's have a quick vote on those. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review them.
I was just looking for them and I don't have them.
Don't worry, I will pull them up.
Sorry,
I've distributed them to the group, but
yeah, for some reason I couldn't find them in my emails.
No worries, no worries.
It was a pretty easy meeting last month, so.
It was a very easy meeting last month because we only had one project, and like I said, now we're going to have like 6 projects a month until we can get out from behind this bog of projects that are all coming to fruition at the same time. Meeting minutes. Do you want me to send them to you or share screen?
Didn't we already look at them?
Yeah, I sent them to everyone.
Then we can just vote on them. We don't have to see them if everybody saw them.
Seemed pretty straightforward to me.
They were really straightforward. I tried to, be concise, but capture accurately what we did.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the September meeting.
I have a second.
Okay, everyone in favor? I think that's 5-0.
I don't know, Robert, did you vote?
Robert,
I wasn't in attendance.
he's
For
that meeting, I was not.
okay, 4-0. Thank you. With that, let's move on to non-agenda public comments. Does anyone have any comments?
Does everybody see what's going on down in Midway? Been catching wind of that new proposal that the city's entertaining for the Midway site?
Is that the Salvation Army?
Brookfield?
The sports arena site.
The Brookfield, the new
Brookfield back in.
Brookfield's going in with a low income or affordable.
10,000, yeah,
affordable.
10,000 units or something, yeah.
I heard it was like from 2 to 25.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, I'm sorry. You guys just went past me. 10,000 or 2,000 to 25,000? Is that what you were saying, Brad?
2,000 to 2,500.
2,000 to 2,500. But
But
Mark said
Mark got 10.
10,000 units. That's kind of a staggering number of people.
All right.
Yeah.
I was wrong. But yeah, that whole proposal is coming up again, and we're gonna go through the whole process of entertaining the developer on it.
Okay. Are there any other functions down there, Mark, or is it just a lot of houses?
We'll see what proposals come up with. But somebody could just show houses.
Well, I mean, it's effectively don't you think that Brookfield's just gonna modify their existing plan to a minor degree to be able to accommodate the affordable? No?
Well, Brad, they've got what, 4 or 5 other folks that are putting together, development proposals for that land. And the city then chooses one of them and then enters negotiations, just like they had gotten to that point before. So it still could be up in the air.
Agreed, but I mean, I guess I was just commenting on Joe's remark about houses, and I don't see it being homes, right? It's going to be some
It's
kind
going to
of
be high density.
Well, you're right, but it's going to be a mid-rise kind of project, right?
Well, it's probably gonna look like Fashion Valley.
What, the Riverwalk?
Well, no, there's all the building going on out there with all those apartments. I would say probably similar to that.
It's probably going to be what? They were, Brookfield's had it at what? 8 stories?
They were kind of capping it right about the height of the sports arena site itself, which was about 75 feet or so.
Yeah, it's like 80 feet, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
I mean, it's not like anybody's ever complained about the sports arena blocking anybody's view.
no, but to Robert's point, you know, Fashion Valley now across the street from the mall that's just some insane housing.
Well, I mean, do we do sprawl or do we do density? I mean, do we do cars out 15? I mean, are we acknowledging that there is population growth? I mean, till we, people stop having kids.
No,
No.
I'm not taking a stand. I'm just saying that's just such a densely populated and densely trafficked area right now.
Right.
You know, it
Right.
limits my trips to the Fashion Valley Mall to like Sunday morning when they open type of thing.
Okay.
And that where San Diego Hospice was, that's a pretty big development up there too.
Well, I know at Christmas time, I park at Marina and take the trolley in.
You really?
Yeah. I mean, otherwise it's just like fighting the cars in the parking lot and it's faster. And there's, I don't know, just we try to modify our behaviors in changing conditions.
Okay. Well, I haven't heard anything formally about that coming back. Mark, do you have any idea what the timeline is?
It was a short time frame. I think they had started that RFP process and they were going to have it done in like 3 weeks, and that was like a week ago. So maybe
Jeez.
yeah.
Wasn't that in the PLOB magazine, that article?
Yes, it was.
Right.
We won't see it through this committee or anything. It's Midway. We'll see it. So we'll have to keep a watch on what's going on at the Midway Planning Group.
Yes, we will. I mean, that's what we did last time. We kind of had to sit in their meeting to find out what was going on.
So Mark, that's an incredibly fast RFP process for a project of that magnitude. What does that tell us?
Yeah, who's more important?
That tells us we got a half a dozen ADUs to review every month. Also, the Navy's pulled out on their, for now, on their development there at Spa War. They have pulled that all out.
Really?
Mhm.
Well,
And what was the rationale?
I don't know. I was just glad they pulled out. There's articles on it. I didn't pay that close attention, but I think they're gonna wait. The feeling that this isn't official is that they're gonna wait till everybody forgets about it and try to come back in after everybody forgets about it. So due to the opposition, but that's just, scuttlebutt. So
Now they had like 10,000 houses.
Right. Well, there were 30 stories, right? Their
they were
favored
250,
project.
300.
I
Mhm.
mean, they could pull off maybe mid-rise there too, similar to what they're doing in Midway, but 30 stories there.
That's not in the airport land use committee influence zone.
They say not.
I don't know.
I can't even see how they couldn't be.
They
mean,
say
but-
not.
But is that federal oversight, Joe?
Yeah, but ALUC is federal and,
Oh, okay.
I'm having trouble building 3-story apartments in the ALUC up by some Air Force bases. So
Right.
Uh,
a mile from the runway, they're like, a few hundred yards from the runway. Oh, well.
Yeah.
And then Robert mentioned the site over there going to be PATH, which is a homeless processing center. Supposedly they're working on getting those homeless people off of South Sports Arena, and they're going to process them through the old Pier 1 site. And that's called PATH. I don't know what the acronym is for that, but they're supposedly working on that now too. So we'll see how that goes.
The Pier 1 side, are you referring to the building across the street from like Peck Kingdom and
Yeah.
Stereo
Mhm.
Unlimited?
Yeah, next to Dixie Line and yeah.
Isn't that just going to move those people over to that part of this? That
Well,
part?
Well,
Yeah.
there's that tent city behind the Big Five, which I never really saw till I was back there picking up some stuff. And I could not believe This is 2 weeks ago, and I guess they've been trying to move some of them out, but I mean,
Behind
it was
Goodwill.
children, it was
I
was
think I know
awful.
where you're talking about.
It was, yeah, right, like where the Seas Candy is, kind of.
Yeah, right down that road.
Yeah, right behind it, that little side road, it was a whole community. And it was really kind of eye-opening to see it.
It's
the
been
one
there a while.
going down to Anderson's nursery.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
Screaming babies, the
Naked
smell.
people dancing in the streets, you
Yeah,
know.
and people by their TVs going in their tents, and I mean,
Yep.
it was just
Yep.
it was I never saw that before. I thought the mental health facility was kind of producing some of this activity till I saw that. Then it makes sense because you can't go to Staples hardly without, you know,
Just seeing people.
yeah.
Somebody brought up the point though, because I heard they were gonna, move those people out of there, and they did. The police came in there and the social workers came in there and moved them all out. But then you go, where do they go? And somebody
I
said,
know.
I saw they go to OB, they go to other areas in our community because they just get dispersed somewhere else because there's no place that they want to go, or they can go, or they it's their choice.
Well, Mark, I've been reading lots of next door neighbor or whatever
Yeah.
comments about the tent city down at the pier in OB, all along there.
Oh, all the sales that are going on.
No, not the sales, just the people who have just sort of moved.
Oh.
More and more people have sort of taken up residence at the end of Newport there. Intense.
Really?
Yeah.
I would. I
As
go
far as
down
I'm reading, I don't go down Newport very often, but
I ride my bike through there, and I haven't necessarily seen.
you haven't seen it? Okay.
Not any encampments. They have all those vendors with their pop-ups. I mean,
Yeah.
those are everywhere now.
They're everywhere now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So does anyone have any more non-agenda public comments? And Corlett, are there any informational items? I am aware of none.
I've been real busy and I wasn't able to attend CPC. Mandy attended for me, so I don't have a report there. So no, for once I'm auspiciously silent.
What was that, Brad?
It's like, really?
Too much going on.
There's stuff going on, believe me. Okay, well, with that, let's go to the action items because we do have 4 items to discuss and our 3 applicants are patiently waiting for us. So this is a continuation of the first item. It's the Ralph residence. And Kevin, you are going to be representing the project for us today. And where we left off last month, the board had posed, or the project review committee rather, had posed to you several questions, primarily about the setbacks in the front and the setback for the determination of height and your determination of height and so forth. So with that, why don't you briefly reacquaint us with your project, if you don't mind, and also you can address the topics that we discussed previously.
All right. Hello, my name is Kevin Leon. I'm with architect Mark Lyon, and we're representing the owner, Mr. and Mrs. Ralph, at 616 San Antonio. And what they're proposing to do is add a basement garage and extend their rec room above the garage. And then also a rooftop cover on their existing roof deck. And so what we need is to go through a coastal development permit for this project. And so last time we presented, and there was a couple issues with the grades and how the heights were determined. So we went back and looked completely through the project and verified with the surveys that were done, and we've redrawn up our elevations with the correct survey points attached to it and reestablished the height limits. And we were close, but some of the numbers were off on our previous plan. And so we've gone through, made sure that all those are coordinated with the survey and they line up as far as the height limits. And then as far as where the height limit was taken for the coastal height limit, the 30-foot, 5 feet out from the building setback, we redid that just to make sure that we were still under the limit. We still are, I believe it's, I want to say it's about 18 inches or so.
Can you please screen share with us?
Yeah, can do that. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Um, So here we've gone through and reestablished our heights based on our survey points. And so now we've gone through and established those heights based on the survey. And so what we have also taken a look at where the garage was set before. And with the current survey, we actually had to lower the garage a little bit further to make it work out properly. And so what we've done is lower the garage further. So this dash line is the existing grade.
Of the driveway.
Yeah, up to the driveway, which is the existing garage, is now going to be the new rec room.
Okay.
And so what we're proposing is to basically from the curb, pretty much flatten out the property into the driveway. And that'll give us enough elevation to have the height of our garage and the room above it for the addition of the great room that we're adding on above the garage.
So how much did you drop it?
I believe it was about 3.5 feet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, it didn't look from your presentation last month that it was potentially off by that much. It looked like maybe it was more on the order of, I don't know, what do you think, Mark? Maybe a foot or a foot and a half?
Yeah, I think what happened last time is our plans only showed to the property line. And so at the property line, yeah, it's only about 1.5 feet. But we took that slope all the way out to the curb and realized that it drops another 18 inches or so before it hits the curb. And so we wanted to try and utilize that whole height without having a step inside our building. That way the owners could use that whole rec room as one large room.
Did you go out farther than you were required by the definition of the height determination to go?
No, so we took that height definition from 5 feet out from the building. And so that stayed in the same location. And then, so show you. So that datum point is 5 feet out from the building. So that's our low point at the garage. And so
Okay.
from that point is where we took our height limits.
And so your envelope is set from that as your base datum point.
Yeah.
And then you stepped it up the hill. And as I recall,
Mhm.
there was also some concern over the ultimate height of the structure as you worked your way up toward the top. Can you
Right.
talk us through that, please?
Yeah, and so it did look like it was a little bit closer. We've reworked that. So this is the property height limit here, and that is established by having a 30-foot height limit
Plus 10 feet.
plus a 10-foot grade differential. So from our low point here to our high point in the back of the property is here.
And could you pen that down a little so I can see the setback? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the height, the total height.
Yeah, so this dash line here is the property height limit.
Okay.
So I did put a establishment on that. So we're 1'3" below the property height limit. And then this 30-foot height limit is the city zoning setback, established 30 foot directly above the grade.
Okay. I believe we also had a little bit of conversation about the excavation. And I think you had indicated that it was compliant.
Yeah, so we. Yeah, so we will have a civil engineer on this, but we don't have one yet to determine the quantities, but there will be excavation for the garage down below.
Okay. And bear with me, I don't recall, was there any input from the city regarding any of the neighbors having concerns about this?
No, nothing of that sort came up in the comments.
And how are you doing on your process review comments?
We are hopefully looking to get them addressed maybe the end of next week.
Oh, you're that close.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Krensick, do you have any comments on the information that Kevin just gave us?
No, this is a good example of how you should step back a house in a hill. And you meet all the height requirements and the property height requirements. I was just looking at your FAR, you're allowed a 58% and you're at 57%.
Correct.
And this is maxed out in size. And I'm fine with it now.
One of the neighbors was just in the meeting, but she's dropped out and I don't think she's coming back. If she had comments, I think she would be in the meeting and making those comments now. So when you ask that question, that seems to be taken care of.
Okay. Well, I would like to kind of agree with what Mark said. I think that you did a clear representation of the items that we asked you to address.
Great.
I think that's responsible architecture.
Thank you.
With that, does anyone have a motion on this?
Well,
Or
I had
is there any
one.
further
Go ahead.
discussion? Go ahead, Brad. I'm so sorry.
No, it's quite all right. Wasn't there, I thought that Mark is the one that had, well, because you guys are in the know, right? Being the architects, he had made some comment regarding a lack of a number. It was like a 00 and it, anyway, I'm just wondering if the plans were changed to fill in a number that Mark had noticed was missing. I think it had to.
That was the earthwork quantities.
Mhm.
And
No, it was more like a measurement from a specific site. Can you go to a different, or either zoom out and go to a different sheet?
Oh, Brad, are you talking about the established setback
It was
from
something, I think it
from
was like,
street curb like they did up and down the street? I think you zoomed in on a Google map and was making a comment about that.
no, it was, yeah, hold on a second. It was a plan, but not, it was a street plan. It was down at the street. And market, it was like zero, it was 0.0 and Mark's thought it, anyway, thought it should be like 6 feet. Oh, see down there, says, yeah, it was like, yeah, this is the one.
6 feet front yard setback?
Yeah, I thought that wasn't labeled previously or something like that, and Mark caught it, and it looks like it's been filled in. Do you have a memory of that, Mark?
Yeah, well, there's two things there, Brad. One, the one we're looking at right now is the 6-foot front yard setback, which is unusual for a single-family residential neighborhood in our community. Typically, it's 15 feet. But the code allows this exception for garages where the grade is very steep, either up or down on your lot, and you can push your front yard setback up to 6 feet where lots are sloped too much. So what he did here was he just buried the garage in the hill, and he's allowed to go up to 6 feet from that setback. At the same time, there was a comment about San Antonio's view corridor of some sort. That we kind of looked all at each other. And that's when we went to the Google Earth and kind of looked up and down the street just to see if there was other precedents that were set for that 6-foot front yard setback. And there was some structure that was close by that was within like 6 feet from the front yard. And then Brad, what you're talking about is on the sections that we looked at the week before, the last month, there were some height dimensions, giving some rail heights and some top of roof heights that were not accurate within themselves. And he's corrected all that now, and everything is, when I looked at it, looks like it's all in line, and he knows it's in line now as well, so.
Okay, great. So, because my concern is, we go to the board that, that we had a lot of questions last meeting. They've all been resolved, and, you guys can certainly, Joe, do a great job summing up the process, but yeah. Thank you very much, Kevin, for doing this. We really appreciate it, and I think it'll make your appearance at the full board go a lot smoother and take much less time.
Yeah, the only thing I would say was that the question is, how tall is the building? And the architect should know that answer right off the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Without going through anything. It's a number,
So do you say how many, so you say what, the 47 feet even?
Well, not-
No,
So
Or is
that's
that's the,
that's the elevation.
it's the elevation, yeah.
And does that mean 47 above sea level or something? Give us a lesson elevation as to height like that.
Yes, the elevations are taken from the survey from the mean high tide line. And so that is 47 feet above sea level. And so the height of the building is 38 foot 7 inches,
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
where,
lowest to the highest point.
And the highest portion of the building at any contiguous point as a plumb bob would go down is under 30 feet.
Yes.
Yeah, the answer to that is you have to say it. I would recommend saying it this way: the height of the building is 29 feet, because there's nothing that should be over 30 feet within the coastal height limit, right?
Right.
For Prop D, you are 39 feet, right? But the answer to the question is 29 feet. Because that's how you measure the building according to the city's information.
That's really well stated, Mark, and that is exactly what members of the community board will be concerned with. You're under 30 feet tall as the building height determination is defined.
perfect,
Okay, with that, do we have a motion?
motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. And that said, I'm just scribbling notes here, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Unanimous.
Can barely see my screen with the sun coming straight in my
I
eyes.
got it, Joe. It's unanimous.
5-0, got it. Okay, well, Kevin, thank you very much. I do appreciate the diligence with which you address each and every one of the comments.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
We'll see you next week at the board meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kevin, it is at 6 p.m. and it is virtual. And you will also need to register for that, much as you did for this, but that will be for the same website, just for the board.
Okay, great.
And no one knows what time we'll get to you. I'm sorry.
The agenda will be posted on the website by Monday evening, and you can sort of look at the order and get a general idea. So.
Yeah, but I mean, you kind of need to be there because things get deferred, and sometimes there's lots of public comment, and sometimes there's very little. Much less now that it's via Zoom.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along to item number 2. This is an ADU. It's up on Orchard Avenue. It's at 4268. It's basically a small ADU and a small residential remodel at portions of an existing house that's at the front of the house. There's a small, fairly narrow concrete alley at the back. I've reviewed the property and I do have some questions, but before we get into it further, Abbas, I'd like to welcome you to our meeting, and could you please share screen and make a brief presentation of your project?
You're muted. Mute button. Lower left.
Your little microphone button, yeah.
There you go.
Nope, still showing muted.
It was off for a second.
Let's see.
There you go.
Good, yeah. What was the question, Joe?
I said welcome, and could you please share your screen and walk us through your plans and spend a couple of minutes, a few minutes, just summarizing the extent of the project that you have proposed. And then, like I said, I'm familiar with the project. I don't know if others have had a chance to go by, but there are some questions that we'd like to discuss with you.
You also sent the plans over, Joe.
Yes.
So we've
Yeah, we
seen
have.
those.
I don't know if you've seen it in person. That's all I was saying, Brad.
Go by, I mean, I've gone up that street 1,000 times in my life. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I know the house. I walk by there, bike by there, drive by there.
Oh,
It's like 2 blocks from my house.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And the other one we're looking at is a block from my house. So
Yeah, they're really, really close together.
yeah. I'm in the middle.
Oh, great.
So
Download it from your email.
Let's see.
And Abbas, if you're not able to share screen, Corla or I or one of us should be.
Yeah, something happened to my computer after the gentleman uploaded the PDF file. I don't know what's wrong, but I can do it through. Okay.
Oh, is that it? Just hit share screen.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Hit share.
I might have it. Is this
there it
it?
is.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I got it. This is it right here. And I'm in control of that right now.
Yeah.
That's my screen. So let me know what you want me to do.
Yeah, we are, as Joe said, we are doing an ADU remodel existing and 300 something square feet addition to the existing house, removing existing garage and new 3-car garage and parking space at the alley side and above the garage and ADU, 570 square feet.
Do you guys want to see other pages or are we looking at this?
I'm looking at it myself on
Okay.
my, I have my,
Oh,
I
you
have
got it.
I have the PDF open and I'm looking at it. You know, it certainly seems like it's significantly under the FAR and it's under height, and the floor plan is in my mind improved by the proposed additions that they're adding and reconfiguring the internal spaces.
This is the remodel, and then let's scroll up to the some elevations.
These are the main house elevation.
And then here's other elevations.
So
at the
now we're
top.
getting to the ADU elevation.
These are the ADU elevations.
Yeah,
Yeah, below the coastal height limit.
and then let me scroll up again and see.
The roof plan and demolition plan.
There's the roof plan. I can go to any page you guys want.
So Corla, could you please go to the elevations?
Yes, this one here or
No.
further.
No, how about the front of the house?
Oh, sure.
Right here.
I had a question, and you know, as I've said, I think I like the floor plan. But I mean, the house right now is sort of nondescript. I mean, and typically we don't get into architecture too much. But I guess I just don't understand. Well, for example, the applique around the soffit vent, I mean, are we celebrating that? Or I'm just wondering. And then the window positions, I mean, it just seems as though you got a lot of disparate elements going on here that are not in keeping with the old existing sort of 50s, 60s house, which again was no award winner, but the asymmetry on this front elevation and the lunette windows you've got going, and I guess in the columns, it's sort of like you're trying to make a classical, I don't know, architects chime in, but I'm just seeing a lot of stuff going on that, I mean, it just seems like it's, you know, you want to be in keeping with the neighborhood and you want to make houses look nicer than was there, but, and again, I guess I'm just, I like the interior spaces, and being a real estate agent, you know, when you walk through thousands of houses and you see rooms, but when you got windows in the corner of a room and not in the middle of the wall, and it seems like the old house had, I don't know, I should just shut up. I'm sorry. It's just that I just had questions about how it looks. And
Well, I
know,
think those are valid questions. Abbas, could you explain what you're thinking, what your thought process is regarding the architecture? I happen to agree with Brad that it's kind of got that, you know, that 60s
or 80s. It's got the that early 80s sort of thing that was like should never come back.
That's the way owner liked it, and it's kind of a Spanish style. I don't know what's wrong with that.
I guess I just don't understand that front elevation with that window over in the corner. And then, and also the lunettes, you know, and
the florets, yeah.
Yeah, the half moon windows. And I guess I just don't understand the reference for a silhouette like this, that in the applique around the vents. I don't know. I've seen that in the past, and I never understood why you're drawing your eye to just a roof vent.
Abbas, are you changing the roof pitch on the house?
No, I'm just raising the ceiling.
You're raising the ceiling.
Yes.
Are you raising the roof?
Yes, we remove the roof and raise the ceiling to 10 feet.
Okay. I was going to say, it looks like it's got a slightly different pitch.
So, yeah,
It
it
looks
does.
like there's
No,
not
the
room for the-
pitch is the same, but the existing ceiling height is 8 feet. We raise it to 10 feet.
And this is sort of a more of a technical question that's not, strictly speaking, the purview of this review committee, but how are you doing that without rebuilding the exterior walls? In other words, you can't just put
No,
2 feet on the edge.
it's Joe, if you remember, we had 4230 Orchard Avenue. It's about the same. There is a structural details to reinforce the wall, foundation. It's doable. I did several times.
So you're rebuilding the whole wall, basically.
We can rebuild the whole wall or sister studs and reinforce the foundation. It is required, adding anchor bolts, hold downs. Yeah, I've done this several times, and I have to hire a structural engineer to do calculation and let me know how to reinforce the wall and footing.
Okay, well, that's a good answer. So in other words, you are not creating a hinge in the wall. You're actually fortifying the wall because you're attaching the sill plates to the foundation better than they presently are. and you're sistering studs to extend the vertical height of the wall so that you don't have a hinge.
Yes.
And you're exposing the volume on the inside, or
Yeah,
you're
we
just
have
getting
to
a flat
expose-
10-foot ceiling.
Yeah, inside, outside, stuff, new stuff, yeah.
Okay, well, in a funny world, a funny way, it seems like the main house rear elevation is more successful than the main house front elevation.
Agreed.
Just because of the shape and the kind of the semi-arbitrary arches over the windows and the door, but that's not my business per se. I do agree with Brad that one small window in the corner looks a little small and a little disproportionate to the rest of the front elevation. But that, again, that's not really our say so.
He's talking about this window. Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
She's the owner.
I'm the owner with my mom here. We're both the owners.
hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. This is our first project we've ever done like this. So with the aesthetic of the house, we were going for a Spanish style because we kind of liked the Spanish style being in Point Loma. So the windows weren't going to be separated like that. It would be one solid window of the arches. So it wouldn't be like a separate like arch on top. It would be one solid window.
Okay,
And the columns doesn't reflect what we were going for as far as his drawing. It's supposed to be like a Spanish style. So it won't look like those columns in the picture, if that
okay.
makes sense.
It does make sense.
Because we're
and
having a front, we're
I
having
think
a front porch with the whole thing will be Spanish style with
got
a
it.
red roof with white stucco. So I don't know how to look at a drawing per se. So with, I like the Spanish style porch, but it won't be looking like columns like that.
Yeah,
I
it
can
looks a
see where
little
you
more
think that looks like
colonial right
a
now.
column from yeah, that's not what we're going for at all.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name is Nikki
Mickey.
with an N.
With an N.
My
Mickey,
legal name is Monique LeBeau. I don't know if that's on the document, sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
Mickey,
her information is on the first page.
Sorry.
Name.
I understand. I'm just trying to focus on this right now without going back and forth, but thank you for that, Nikki. I think that with a little bit of tweaking, this can look like a Spanish style house. It just doesn't happen to read like a Spanish style house. For example, the eave on the roof would be a little thicker and the tile would be representative. And typically with a Spanish style arched window, there would be like some sort of maybe a trim under it and a lintel piece beneath it. But I would love to see this become a Spanish style house. I think that would be complementary to the neighborhood. I am not your near neighbor, but I think that Brad, you may want to comment on it becoming a Spanish style look.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of times with Spanish style houses, I mean, I'm certainly no architect, but I mean, there is a certain repetition and, recreation of certain things and, and there can be somewhat symmetrical in the asymmetry here. I guess I just don't understand that room, that little window off to the
That little
side.
right room, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. And I commented on that too, yeah.
Yeah, seems like there should be.
So we can make that window bigger so it'll be more
There
symmetrical.
is-
It's just a bedroom.
There is
Right, I
more-
know, but I
there
mean,
is
in
more
terms of
window
looking at
at
the
the
street,
other-
also that room, when you're in it, and that's that south exposure. It just, people expect when they walk into a bedroom. And again, I'm just saying this as a real estate agent, you can do what you want in your house but that room, it seems as though to have your windows centered in your
There is
space when
more
you walk
window at
in.
the other side.
Yeah, the side of
Yeah.
the house has a bigger window, but I can
Yeah.
see for the symmetrical of it for the front of the house to have them both larger windows. Both the same.
Well, right, and sort of balanced. I mean,
Right.
just to make the house look more attractive from the street. Yeah, if it would be nice if it was if you could recreate a Spanish house. You can't really see that it's got a tile roof on these drawings, or that's what you're going for, or how much overhang you're going to have, and so yeah, just comments and not trying to be rude or read, because we're not trying to evaluate things aesthetically. That's not really our job, and even though I'm doing that right now, but I'm just trying to just first impressions. Anyway. Thanks
But
for being
it's hard to
patient.
get a look of that it's Spanish from a drawing. I get that.
Yeah, no, it is. Nikki, in your bedroom, I'm looking at the plan right now, and you have two of those similarly sized windows, one on either side of what will become the bed wall. So I think the larger window, much like you have in the living room, would actually be beneficial to the bedroom.
Okay.
It is a little bit difficult to draw if you don't have a three-dimensional rendering programs or SketchUp or Revit or Form Z or something, but we understand the intent of what you are trying to do. But I still would like to, and I agree with Mark, with Brad, we're not supposed to be picking apart architecture, but we are trying to improve just the look of the overall aesthetic and the entire community, which we live in and are all incredibly proud of and fortunate to be a part of. Can we go to the ADU in the back? Because I actually have more concerns back there.
This one or the ones at the beginning?
That one.
Okay.
So first, a couple of technical questions, Abbas.
Yes.
When I went down that alley, there's two things that struck me right off the bat that aren't really reflected in these plans. The first is that there's actually a couple of feet of grade change as you go down the alley, and it's not reflected in these elevations. And I don't know if that's going to affect the buildability of that ADU or what you have planned to do with the soil there. But also, and probably more importantly, there is a power pole right on the right-hand corner of your property, and it runs parallel to the alley. And there's an arc of separation, and it looks to me like your ADU is going to be right against those power lines. Can you comment on those two items?
ADU is 5 feet away from the property line. If you look at the site plan, ADU is 5 feet from the property line.
Okay. But there's like typically a 10-foot arc on those overhead lines. We've just been caught on that before, and it's a thing that you need to be attentive to. In other words, they don't want high voltage lines right outside of people's windows, right outside of their residences. Maybe you're clear. I don't know, but it sure looks like the power poles are, right on the edge of the alley there. Mark, maybe you can chime in on that rule.
If you see the site plan, it is 5 feet from the property line. And the
Yes, sir. I see that. We're 5-foot rear yard setback. But
and the power pole is at least 2 feet other side of property line.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said, sir. It's where in relation to the
power pole, the power line is not exactly on the property line. It is at least 2 feet away, 2-3 feet away, and 5 feet. The ADU is this side. Between the line and the ADU, it will be at least 8 feet distance.
Okay, and again, Mark, maybe you can answer this. I don't run into it that often, but I thought that the arc from a power line was 10 feet. The arc clearance.
Yeah, Abbas, welcome back to the project review. We reviewed Abbas's project back in 2017, 2018 for 4230. Same side of the street, just 2-3 houses down, right, Abbas?
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. Power line is over there too.
Yes, it is. It's exactly the same thing. And what you could do is share some pictures of what you did with that house because you were working on it. I don't know if you completed it or not, but this house looked exactly like what you were doing over there from the street side. What Joe's talking about, Abbas, is there's a power line that runs behind this ADU garage, and it's really the height of the line. So you have to figure out how high that line is above the alley, and then where is it in relationship to your eave at your building, and you have to have 10 feet clear from there.
We have enough room. I can move the ADU.
Yeah, well, that's
Well, that may be the solution.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Something that you want to check because there is no code on it, but SDG&E will not let you build that when you start building it, saying you're too close and make you move it later, right? You don't want to do that.
What about any applicable easements SDG&E has?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's typically an easement that runs underneath that power line, which is typically 5 feet on either side of it, is what I've seen. But he's got 5 feet there, you know, so it's just one of those things that you want to check the height of those lines in relationship to the eve of the ADU.
We have plenty of property to move it back if we have to.
Yeah, if he
Yeah.
has room to move it back, that might be the solution in and of itself. And I'm
We
not,
have enough room, we can move it a little, 2-3
Yeah,
feet
you have
back.
the space.
well, and then part and parcel to that, Abbas, again, it appears that there's a fair amount of slope to the alley, and the alley is fixed and your garage is fixed. And if they're scissoring away from one another, if you were to pull the ADU a few more feet off of the alley, that gives you more run to work with
Yeah, the ramp,
to
the ramp.
warp your driveway into and out of the garage.
Yeah, you're right.
So that might be something that you would want to consider.
Yeah, I will.
Now, the next question, of course, that begs to be asked is, do you have any intention to kind of make this look Spanish style as well?
Yeah, yeah, we want it to match.
Okay.
Yeah, we want it to
Yeah,
match the
sure.
front house.
Okay.
What's the horizontal banding that's running around the middle of between the garage and the upper unit there? What is that?
This is just for look, it's a pop out, you know, 2 inches pop out just for look.
What is
Different
it?
probably
Say
color or,
It's like a 2 by
Yeah, just
planton
trim,
or
yeah.
something.
it's a 2x12, you know, popping out from the main wall, it's just for look.
Okay. Because I like that better than anything I like on the front house.
The front
Yeah.
house is 1 story, you know.
Yeah, but I like that banding because it brings in a little bit of a detail that makes it special.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what we're saying about the front house. Is there anything we can do to make that house special? Right? So some little detail as simple as a horizontal band that runs around could be it.
Mhm. And maybe you want to change your stucco color below the band, which I'll call a wainscot, like a 1-story wainscot, and go with maybe a lighter shade above it so that you have a little bit of that a play of color, because otherwise it's like 20-something foot tall, kind of boxy shape. So again, we would appreciate seeing a little bit of that detailing come into the house. I'm happy to hear that it's going to have a tile roof and it's going to have a thicker roof edge. And I don't particularly mind the floret if it's a nice plaster cast element and so forth. I do have a couple questions that are, again, not really the purview of this committee, but for example, you've got your stove and your sink set that you don't have any windows other than a tall toilet window looking back toward the house. That may be by the desire of Nikki, just to create and maintain privacy, but it make the elevation look nicer, and it sure would be nicer if you had a couple more windows. Maybe a window over your sink and flip your stove in your sink. Maybe a couple of windows in the garage just to break up the height and the mass of that elevation. Or maybe you've got some landscape plans up in front of it to kind of soften the scale a little bit. I think that your garage stair elevation could be quite nice, especially if you have some wooden kickers coming off the ends of it, and again the thickened tile roof edge and the roof and so forth. But your kind of hands are tied on the east elevation, but someone's going to be looking at that. So, and it appears that you could have you have limited opening protection, but you're far enough away. Well, you can have some windows out of that bedroom and maybe get some cross ventilation, which is always desirable, and perhaps help the livability and also help the exterior aesthetic of that first bedroom up there. Just thoughts.
Yeah, Joe, if I add the window at the other side, there is no room for bed.
Well, you could have two small windows above the bed or three windows above the bed. You
Yeah,
know, in our master bedroom, we have three windows on our bed wall. They're like 1.6 by 1.6 square, jalousie style, and they're fantastic. We open them all the time. They provide cross ventilation for breezes. You know, you have great breezes in that part of Point Loma.
Okay.
Just thoughts.
Yeah.
Or like a window over the sink, you know, it's much more desirable to be doing dishes if you can look out into a backyard. Again,
That's for,
the owner may not want that. They
that's
may
for
say, I want
privacy of,
privacy.
this is for privacy of main house, Joe.
Yeah, I understand. Like I said, I predicated my statement with that question, but you know, just these are just some comments. We're mainly concerned with the aesthetic to the neighborhood of the overall structure.
Hey, I've got just one comment since we've answered the other two questions I did have. And first of all, I'd like to say the positive things here is the ADU is a 2-story ADU. It's providing 2 parking spaces, 3 parking spaces, 2 in a garage, 1 on site. Those are all good things. Okay, it's got access from the alley for the proposed ADU. That's good things. These are all good things. And I think that's what, you know, should be presented to the board, that it is one of these things that is providing parking, is 2 stories, is well below any height, you know, question that would be around. And then Abbas, the only thing that I have that's remaining on my list is that in all of the write-ups that I see on the drawings and even in the write-up, well, I guess it doesn't say it in the write-up, because in the write-up, we're calling it an ADU, but in all your drawings, you're calling it a companion unit. Those are 2 different things, right? And I don't want you to go and get approved for a coastal development permit for a companion unit because it's not the same as an ADU.
The city of San
Right there it
Diego,
says companion.
city of San Diego call it companion unit. Sometimes ADU is the same thing.
No, it's not.
An ADU is actually a lot more lenient to you.
I can change it, but based on the city of San Diego information bulletin, they are the same.
But they titled your project 4268 Orchard Avenue ADU.
Right. Yeah, I can revise it. It's not a big deal.
I had a question, Joe.
Yeah, sure, Mike. Brad.
Mark was starting to talk about it, and you guys can read those a lot better than us lay people about all the cycle issues and questions and things referenced in the letter. And I mean, how far along is there, what outstanding things with the city that are still to be determined? I mean, do you have any information on that, Mark or Joe, from what
So
you've seen?
there were no significant project issues. I'm not really sure what they were getting at, Abbas, when they said an encroachment maintenance removal agreement were required for private improvements in the public right of way. I didn't go through it thoroughly enough to know what those were talking about. But when you and I talked before this meeting, you'd indicated that you had a good handle on, and it appears that you actually do have a very good handle on many of the you've got a lot of your plan check comments already cleared. The vast majority of them, and the things that are remaining about like airport influence, or you know, they're more like nuisance comments. They're not.
So we provided the form, the FAA certification.
Yeah, that's not an issue. Believe me, I'm not worried about a 2-story house in Peninsula. But you know, I'm just flipping through them now. Most of them have been cleared, or many of them have been cleared.
Yeah, the only one I have concern, and I'd like an answer from the boss, was your written narrative on how you address the project sensitivity to the coastal vista view area.
The coastal,
So distal view area.
I did not hear that. Can you
It's
say
in
it again?
it's in your comments. It's under planning, under significant project issues. It's the first one under planning.
Yeah, I provided, I resubmitted the plan. What you have is the latest one, and I respond to all the questions. I provide findings, everything.
Okay,
I'm asking you to provide us either verbally or your written narrative showing you
Oh,
how this project
yeah.
is sensitive to the coastal vista view area.
You
Simple
mean
question.
my response?
yes, sir.
Okay, I can email them to you, Joe.
Okay, yeah, I mean, they use the word sensitive to the coastal vista view area.
Yeah,
And
it's on
so,
the findings. I can email you the findings and my response.
So specifically coastal view area, if it's not in there, we're gonna throw it back at you and ask you to come back. If it's in there, maybe then we can approve you. So be very specific when you address that response. What is the coastal view, vista view area? Describe it to me.
He's pulling it up on his computer.
thank you, appreciate that.
It means the project is sensitive to the coastal. I know, but what is?
The response, I don't know. Can I email it to you? I mean, this is my response. You read it.
Just read it to us, please.
Okay, the proposed
Wait, you're too far from the mic. You're,
lot-
it's cutting out. I'm sorry.
Where's the mic?
Like right now, you're
Can you hear
crystal
me now?
clear, Nikki, but yeah, when you were over there, it was like
Okay.
pinning out or whatever it does.
Okay, I have to look at it on another computer. So the proposed coastal development is contained within the boundaries of an existing residential lot with no existing and no proposed encroachment onto any existing physical access way that is legally used by the public or any proposed public access way identified in a local coastal program land use plan. In addition, the proposed coastal development is located in an interior neighborhood lot in a relatively level area. It says less than 4%, conforming to required zoning building heights and associated requirements set forth for the property. Thereby, the proposed coastal development project will enhance and protect public views to and along the ocean and other scenic coastal areas as specified in the local coastal program land use plan. Then there's another section that says, the project site is a previously graded lot containing an existing single-family residence and is surrounded by existing residential development. The lot does not contain any sensitive biological resources, including any sensitive riparian habitat or other identified habitat community, and other project site does not contain, nor is it adjacent to MHPA designated lands. The project does not propose any uses that will adversely affect environmentally sensitive lands.
That's actually a very good response. I don't know that it enhances public view. Maybe from the ADU itself, but that's the kind of verbiage, Mark, unless you disagree with me, that's the kind of verbiage that the city wants to have in response to a question of that nature.
There's a couple more. It says the proposed project is in conformity with the certified local coastal program land use plan found in the Peninsula Community Plan and complies with all regulations of the certified implementation program. The proposed project is not located between the nearest public road and the sea or the shoreline of any body of water located within the coastal overlay zone and is in conformity with the public access, public recreation policies of Chapter 3 of the California Coastal Act.
That's a good response.
We promise we'll make it pretty. We've owned that house since 1955.
Could Abbas, could you email me that statement?
Sure. You want to email it right now?
Or whenever. So,
The reason for my question was I didn't know if Orchid had a coastal view down it.
it
No.
doesn't, Mark.
No,
No,
It doesn't?
It doesn't, no.
And then I don't get why the city wrote that coastal vista view area. Maybe they're asserting that all the streets that face the ocean have a view area, vista view area, and that any encroachment into that view area would not be what we want, right? And when I look at it, and I go, well, that porch, that open porch with the columns, that add on, is that adding on to the existing structure, and is that encroaching into this coastal view?
Yeah, I understand the nature of your question, Mark, and it's good, but it's that porch, even with the encroachment, is pretty far back from the street. And I know for a fact that the alley doesn't have any views. Looking at it on Google Earth, and like I said, I've driven it previously, but I'm going to go over to the street right now. He's kind of getting up on the top of the hill, but I don't really see any views from there.
well, it's vista views, right? So, you're just kind of looking at the neighborhood because of the slight grade. I don't know that they're really alluding to any kind of
there's
water
no
view.
views. I lived in that
Oh,
house.
yeah,
There's
no, I understand. I'm just saying.
Even the second story, you wouldn't be able to see the ocean.
No, it's not private views.
No,
it's
agreed.
Public views in the
Public
right
views.
of way. Our community plan states that we have these vistas that go from the top of the hill down to the ocean so that we can embrace the views, right? So it has nothing to do with anything anybody just said. It just happens to be with the street. And if we're encroaching into it further than anybody else's envelope along that street, front envelope, then we're encroaching into the view.
Yeah, I understand that question, Mark. And I don't think they're anywhere close.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about the setback of the front of the house?
The
Yeah.
porch edition, Nikki.
Our house is so far back compared to everybody
No,
else's
no,
house.
Joe, the porch, if you look at the site plan, I made a note about it. Porch can be encroaching to the front setback, like maximum 10 feet, 3 sides open. There is a code reference on
Yeah, you
the.
did. You said per section 131.0461 subsection A, subsection E. I don't know that code
That's
section.
That's what the plan reviewer asked me to add.
Yep.
Porch can encroach into the front setback maximum 6 feet, 2 sides open, and maximum 10 feet or 50% of the building's width, whichever is maximum 50% of its width.
I see that. I see that.
Is there a porch? Is this, I've moved the screen share up a little bit. Is this actually a porch or just an entryway? Is the porch even on here?
It's a
Am I just
porch.
seeing
It's a
it, or-
porch, Corla.
That is a porch. Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you.
it's,
Yeah, if you look at the site, right below where you just had your cursor over on the left, you can see it projecting out over there. Below there, take your cursor. Yeah, see the porch on the
Oh,
left
there it
side?
is. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
projects about 6 feet to the paving and about
Got it.
4.5 feet or so to the columns.
I see it. Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, Joe and Mark, Joe's comment about, I mean, is that lot, I mean, there is a grade there. I mean, but we're seeing a completely flat lot. I mean, is it really completely dead flat there?
No, it's not. That's what I was talking about a little while earlier about.
Right. I'm just wondering, it's
bust
not
in
really
there.
reflected that there's any differential between the uphill side and the downhill side.
No, there isn't. I mean, they're kind of on the crown and it's kind of a view to nowhere. It's kind of a vista, I guess. You can see the horizon very well, and it's light and bright and airy up there. It's nice,
Right.
but I don't think it's a view corridor.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that in terms of how the drawings are done.
Well, like I was saying, if they push the garage or the ADU back, it's going to give them more of a throat to use the technical term, between the existing edge of the alley and the finished floor of the garage. And I'm presuming they'll split the difference and put the finished floor elevation of the garage about the midpoint of the alley. So on one side of the garage, you slope down slightly, and on the other side of the garage, you slope up slightly to get into the ADU garage and the house garage. I was happy to see that they're providing a 3-car garage,
Right.
because the existing house has a 1-car garage. So parking is not going, even though it's not required, parking is not going to be problematic.
Right, right. Well, and also that, there's only one ADU with all the new changes, there, as we know, there could be more than one.
17.
Yeah, yeah, at 150 square feet. Yeah.
So just briefly, as a question open-ended to Corla and Brad and Robert and Mark, do you guys want to make a motion? Do you want to see them make some revisions? Where is this committee leaning?
Well, my concern is that I think maybe the architect needs to make sure he's familiar with the local codes.
In terms of what, Robert?
Oh, I don't know. It just seems like, as far as just the rules and regs with planning.
With like the ADU versus companion unit
Well, I just everything.
designation.
Just like the setbacks and the power lines, the difference between an ADU and a companion, things like that I just have picked up on. But other than that, I have nothing further.
I think you want to be careful on your designation. As Joe said, I think that companion unit will cost you a whole lot more money than the ADU. So I think you definitely want to clarify that. And then the guys are aware of my other concern is the power pole arc clearance. And, you want to be able to, I think you want to be able to address that coastal vista view. If you come before the board and somebody asks that question and you don't have that, laid out specifically, that could be an issue for you as well.
Well, my general inclination is to try to help people to further their projects, but my feeling on this one is that if we present it next week to the board, there's likely to be a number of questions that come up. And if they come back before us next month and clean up a few of these things and provide these exhibits, it will be smooth sailing in my estimation.
Yeah, I'd like to see some changes.
I think that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Right, I mean,
Minor,
the
just
last
clean it up a little
project
bit.
we saw, the Ralph project down on San Antonio, that's what we did, and they fixed it, and that likely will have smooth, because Abbas and owners there, Nikki, if we go to the full planning board, a lot of times, they're taking direction from us and they start having questions, but if the project review committee says, oh yeah, we had questions, they went through the process and our question's been resolved, it's smooth sailing. It only takes 5 minutes versus, scrutiny like this for
or
another
potentially
time.
getting shut down,
Right,
which happens more and more. So
right. So,
well, I think if you don't mind, Abbas and Nikki, if you could just clean up a few of these things and maybe prepare a line arc little cross-sectional exhibit, maybe shoot some grades with a transit or a digital level or a string level, and come back next month, that would be hugely helpful for us. Then, like Brad said, we can go to the board and say with full faith that this project not only complies, but that it will be an attribute to the area.
exactly.
Anyone want to make a motion? Hello? Do we make a motion to bring it back, Corla?
I just think that's a request. I don't, if there's
a
no motion on
non-vote
the
item.
floor, if there's no motion on the floor to approve it, they're kind of dead in the water anyway. It's so.
We're not denying.
Yeah, we're not denying. We don't want to put them in that position of any kind of denial. And I don't think anybody on the committee is comfortable enough to make that motion. So if they're willing to bring it back, if not, if they want to come before the board and risk that, it's up to the applicant. But I don't think we need a motion to request that.
Well, looking at the plan review cycle comments from the city, I don't think that a 1 month delay is going to in any way delay the ultimate commencement of construction on this project.
So are you guys willing to fix those concerns that the committee has and come back next month?
Yeah, I can fix them, but if you can approve it, I fix it and email you, you can see.
don't think
Boss,
you're
we're
gonna
not
get
allowed
that
to do
vote.
that. We have
You know,
to see exactly what
we're
we're
talking
approving.
about 4 or 5 weeks delay too. And the owner is
No.
paying interest every month. You know?
Boss, it's really not. I mean, because you've got cycle review comments, and I can tell you, the city is taking weeks and weeks and weeks to get back with these, and this approval is one of, this
Yeah, I
approval is no
understand.
more important or less important than any one of those check boxes on your project cycle list. It's just one
Okay,
of the boxes.
I'll fix it and send it to you first to take a look and let me know, please.
Personally, I just like to, I just like to see that is, to me, more obviously Spanish, if that was the intent, because frankly, I don't know, maybe I just not as experienced as some, but it'd be nice if it had more detail and more character. And that's something that you could do in the interim to try to pull in some of those design elements that might make it appear more characteristically Spanish.
I would like to see that as well.
Yeah,
So
the-
boss, will you please just bring, you and Nikki, just please bring this, and Nikki, your mother, please bring this project back. Just address some minor things. And like I said, I think in the long run, you're going to be much smoother sailing by doing that. And I don't think this is going to delay in any way the commencement of construction of this project, because you've got, still a number of cycle review comments and stamp out and all those things that take weeks and weeks to occur.
Do I change the front window or?
Yes.
Just kind of make it look more Spanish, address please some of the comments we talked about. Push the ADU farther into the site, look at the grading, look at the slope.
Yeah, I will buy that.
And so forth, and analyze where those poles are and demonstrate that you've got 10-foot arc clearance, because even if we clear it and even if the city approves it, you're going to have a problem. And you, trust me, do not want to frame an ADU and have SDG&E say, yeah, no, this doesn't work.
No, I will go back and take care of that.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look, thank you.
Moving right along, we have one more ADU, and then if we have time, a discussion of the ADU recommendations to the city. So let's just jump right in, please, to the Lancaster ADU.
Do the owners have questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, it's maybe like they're talking in the background. I didn't certainly mean to overspeak them.
Their bandwidth is not good. They keep freezing up.
I
so
know their bandwidth is not good
Yeah,
at all.
I'm going to, I can't even mute them. They're
Well,
frozen right now. So
Well, maybe they disconnected. I don't know.
I-
Can they hear us?
goes away. But anyway,
Okay, well, moving one block to the other side of Brad's house,
It's true. It is in the next block.
the Lancaster in the central ADU village. We have the Lancaster ADU, which is another coastal development permit for a proposed 2-level, 1,200 square foot ADU with a roof deck. The applicant is listed as Andy Crocker, but I understand that Rodrigo Villalon is going to be making the presentation.
Yes, Andy had to step out for a family emergency.
No worries. I've talked to both of you
Yes.
several different times.
Right.
So why don't you please share your screen and explain to the group. We're already going on an hour and a half, and I hate to burden everyone's time.
I will keep this brief. I'll start off with the cover sheet, just kind of echoing how you introduced it to ADU. 1,200 square foot, 2-story proposed ADU. It's intended for the homeowners, parents, and to be used as an office as well. Move down to the typical stuff, our FAR plan. You can see,
That's a perfect comment. Sorry to interrupt, but that's a perfect comment because everybody's always thinking that these are going to be Airbnbs. So thank you for bringing.
no, right, yeah,
the usage.
they're not trying to pull fast, and it's
Yeah,
for
yeah,
family
no.
and for themselves.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. First level, just briefly, it's a smart living space, a kitchen, a full bath, and a bedroom with a closet. Second level, separated because it'll be used as an office for the Lancasters. So it's a open space which will be used as an office, and a full bath again. So the bathrooms are stacked. As you can see,
Can I interject a question, Rodrigo?
absolutely.
Just first off the bat, it's not, your intent is not, since it's a mimicked floor plan in all essence, to mimic it into a second ADU up there?
No, this has no bedroom. This is a roof below, and there's no proposed other kitchen. This is just solely for our clients to work in. They're both in pharmaceuticals, so they have a lot of office needs.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
in
just
our
gotta add, I
Zoom
have
era.
to ask the question because it begs to be asked, because
Absolutely, yeah, it
could
looks like open
become an
space.
ADU.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it will be used as a home office for both of them.
Mm.
Moving forward, this is a relatively flat lot. There is a power pole northwest of the property corner. Our ADU is proposed to be here, so it does clear out. I know you were asking questions about the SDG&E clearances and easements, and we're clear of those. Oh, one more thing. So this is the alley. So there will be alley access to it if they choose to park a car back here or whatever.
And there's
they
just a
choose to
big
do.
lawn in the back right there where it's going to be built, right?
It is,
It's
Brad,
just lawn, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
and it's another one of those super skinny alleys.
It is.
I take it, Joe, you referenced this a fair bit. Do you have like a 40-foot alley at your house?
My house?
Yeah,
It's not 40 feet, but it's
it's
probably,
wider than all the alleys that we have up here. I
it's
take
20
it.
feet paved, and all of the houses are 4 feet off of it. All of the houses
Gotcha.
it chose to be. So
Okay.
right at my house, it's 26 feet wide.
Okay, all right. I'm just wondering, because I've got one of those skinny alleys too, I guess.
The guy I bought
Yeah.
it from years ago said, "This is the best alley in all of Point Loma, trust me." I didn't know.
Lucky you.
Dumb luck, trust me.
Yeah, we're working with a 20-foot wide alley here, so it is fairly narrow. Quick site plan, existing home, existing deck, location of the proposed 2-story ADU. First floor now, a little more detail. There's a covered patio that the family intends to use. Like the drawing before showed, there was the existing deck here that will spill down into this covered patio, and this kind of multi-slide bifold door to kind of open up this area for the family's grandparents that will live here. Second level access through this exterior stair is the office with full bath. Window only, looking down to the lawn down below. Not second level, roof deck, access through this kind of whimsical little spiral stair here. They wanted to add something that was kind of indicative of their personality, so it's kind of a fun little thing. It's just a family roof deck. They entertain a lot, so they want a space for friends and family. Not covered, it won't be covered, and they don't intend to use any umbrellas or anything up there. Let's start at the proposed north elevation. So this, we're standing in the alley right now. So they have a steel stair connecting to another steel spiral stair. This is the door to the office with the small steel kind of eave or awning. This is standing at the deck looking towards the ADU. The two proposed materials are stucco and then an upgraded textured material, whether it be wood or some sort of metal. It's TBD, but it will be textured just to contrast between bedroom and living space. This is standing at the eastern neighbor's property line looking over. So down below here is kitchen, up here is office, and then stacked bathroom, and the bedroom. This is standing at the western neighbor's yard looking east. So we have large picture windows for the views. You can see the patio and the bifold doors beyond. Quick section just to show how it works. So as I noted, there's only one bedroom. So it's one bedroom down below. It's not stacked, so it'll be just one bedroom. And the proposed kind of guardrail up here is glass. So it goes up to a certain level where it's opaque and then becomes clear, just if there are any view issues. Then lastly, just this larger section showing the bedroom again. And where we are right now with the city comments, we submitted about a month and a half ago. To Joe's point, they are running a little late, but we received our final comments last week and we picked them all up. We were holding to submit simply just to have this hearing, but nothing came back where we felt we'd have to redesign or start over.
Well, I have a question. Is there laundry here?
There is no laundry proposed in the ADU.
Why is this? Why does no one put laundry in these ADUs?
You know, we've asked and we proposed it and it was nixed.
That's weird.
Isn't that
Yeah.
what Lee Hope did on a project about 2 months ago, team?
Yeah, I think that you're right. I remember we certainly had a discussion about it. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was Lee.
Yeah,
Lee's.
they didn't want, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
want-
like you got to go in the house or laundromat. Well, I guess you don't have to really worry. I mean, that just seems like such a pain.
Right.
Easy to squeeze a laundry in.
I mean, how hard would that be?
There's plenty of space, absolutely.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
tons of room.
Yeah,
Even
Is
at
it
the end of
sitting
the
in-
bathroom, there's room for a stacking washer dryer.
of course, yeah. It was all kind of centered in here and it was a no.
Well, is
Wow.
that the city said no?
No,
No,
the
this is a
owners.
client.
Oh, the client.
Oh, okay.
They should rethink that, but you can pass on our dismay at their lack of inclusion.
I'll let them know that you guys agreed with me.
Please do.
You could tell them that they'll have to get a coastal development permit if they want to put a washer and dryer. in
Exactly.
that.
Start over.
Can you
Yeah,
scroll down again to one of those other pages? A little bit more, another. Here, right, go to this one, right there, the top drawing, or actually either one of those. I'm confused about the heights. When I look at this roof deck, where it goes across that pitch, that says 29 and 20.
24/8.
Where, now
Oh,
where?
no. You're right, Corley.
Yeah, see here on the right, it says 29, and then you've got that roof deck, which has to have probably 4-foot parapets, but then your 30-foot height limit dot line is way up, and so I'm confused.
No,
Sorry,
it's dimension
I'm
is-
not seeing the 29.
It's right by your cursor.
That's 24.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but on the
20,
right
and the
side
30
it-
is way up higher, Corla.
I see that, but look on the right side where it says roof deck, 29.3. What are those numbers under roof deck, right to the right of your cursor?
Oh, those are elevations above sea level, aren't they?
They are. They're
Okay,
based off our
Off of the
survey.
topo.
got it. Okay, I got it. Perfect. All right, they were just looking like, I don't know what. Thank you. I'm good now.
Can you please go to your site plan, Rodrigo?
Of course.
Something doesn't seem quite right there. You've got this corner of the house with this porch falling in the middle of an existing stair from the, I'm guessing, the previous two-story remodel that was done on this house some time ago.
Oh,
Is this here?
No, yeah, right there. Right, go to the left, there, right there.
This is the patio, the roof deck patio.
Right, but look where it is in juxtaposition to the existing first level deck. They're like right on top of each other.
So part of the original prompt was to connect these patios.
Okay,
This does not have an existing deck cover now, and they want to keep that as it is. What they were questioning is whether this would need its own area, just because it kind of creates, you do step down and can create this little kind of alcove down here, and there is a bedroom window here, so they wanted, you know, shading. So this is kind of the compromise where we would keep it within this area here. This is still like a 9-foot clearance at this step. So I know you're saying the proximity of it seems a bit awkward.
well, they're not connected structures. Mark, would there be an assumed property line in there?
No. You just need to maintain 6 feet between structures. But a deck that's at grade, you could go up right up to it. You could actually incorporate them together. They could be all one if you wanted it to be that way.
It just seems awkward on paper. Like you go down, you go up. It's just,
Yeah, we're working with raised foundation and then down to concrete foundation.
and am I correct that that big part of the second level of the house that's in the rear of the house was an add-on at some point in time?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, it sure looks like it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sure
absolutely.
does. Right.
Okay,
It's a little clumsy.
well,
Yeah, that second story back here.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, where it
Yeah,
says
I'm sure.
existing second story, it's just kind of like the old vacuum cleaner, just make it 2 stories.
Yes.
That's neither here nor there. Well, a couple things. You are on a sloping alley too, but you're set off of it and you've got it such that you've got really a minimal amount of structure on the sloping area. So I'm sure you can set your finished floor and make it work. I'm
Yeah.
appreciative that you provided a parking space. It's one of those skinny alleys where I would hate to have to park my car in it every day, but you know, it's doable, right?
Right.
Robert, Brad, Mark, do you guys, Corla, have questions or comments on it? It seems to me that it's generally compliant. Yep.
Well, you're under the FAR and you're under height, right? So, and
Right.
you know, I mean, there's actually, to me, I mean, not to, again, I'm weighing in on aesthetics, but it's more attractive to the existing home, at least in my mind. I mean, you got some rhythm going with the windows and there's a consistency. I don't know, maybe it's your renderings make it more attractive than some that we've seen, but
Thank you.
I think I have no objection to it. Everything seems to be in order. Comments from anybody else? Corla?
Yeah, quick question. How far is the primary residence away from the ADU?
14 feet?
13.
1310.
Okay.
They're
I-
kind of right on top of each other.
Thanks for
Robert.
zooming that. Yeah, thanks for zooming that in. I didn't see it. Okay.
For sure.
No, but yeah, I'd have nothing further. Everything looks fine.
I've got a
Mark?
couple comments.
I know you do.
Hey, first of all, the exterior elevations of your ADU, we should have shared them with the boss.
Mark,
It's a different product. It's a different product.
Okay, how diplomatic.
These are
Yeah.
gonna be nice windows and doors, it looks like.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
And thank you
From
for
their
doing
scale and
that.
Proportion.
Yeah.
So Brad, you're not, you can see these things, Brad. When you look at this structure and you look at the windows and you look at the materials and you look at the massing, you go, oh, that's attractive, right?
Right.
You could see that. You could see it in plans, and it really shows up in architecture when it's really built. So don't be afraid to say what you said earlier.
Well,
'Cause I
thank
agree-
you
I
for
agree
saying
with
that.
you.
I was
agree
very
with you
hesitant
100%.
to.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree.
am I alone? And sorry, Rodrigo, was I alone in not being able to identify that previous property as being Spanish?
No,
I mean,
it
that's
wasn't
why
Spanish.
No.
I mean, that's why I made the
No.
comment about the floret, thing around the vent, because it just, okay, that makes sense now that I know what you're trying to do, but okay.
Okay,
didn't-
Okay,
it didn't
okay,
read
thanks.
well.
And I
Let's move
appreciate your
on.
comment.
Okay.
Mark, you have you and Joe educated us, we had these meetings and we start to see things that, maybe haven't appreciated in the past. So I thank you for that.
Very good.
They just
Okay.
forgot they just forgot the pillars out front.
Okay, here we go. The image we're looking at right now, there's that spiral stair that encroaches into the rear yard setback.
We have a maximum of, let me go down to a 2 foot.
You can
So-
encroach into that rear yard setback with certain things. What are you calling this?
We're very straightforward with the city. We're encroaching 2 feet into the rear yard setback, and it came back as not a comment.
It's
Yeah.
weird. It's not the structure that's in the setback. It's
No,
like an overhang.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd assume. It could be an eave, it could be a projection, but this is a stair. And I've been hammered before where the city has said, no, you can't put stairs in the side yard or rear yard setback, right? And so I saw the stair and I went, oh, well, that could be one of those game changers where you have to move that out of the way, move it inward perhaps. But if the city's already looked at it, again, the city, it all depends on who you get as a plan checker sometimes down there. Okay,
Right,
so
and
let's go back
there's a
to-
lot of change right now too at the city, so there's a lot of
Let's go back to the site, to the first plan, the first sheet, and let's talk about square footages. It's all the way up there. There you go. Zoom in on that square footage. Okay, so what do we have? We've got 3,868 square feet, right? Totally. And then this next thing, you go exemption, you're taking out 200 square feet for a 1-car garage. What is that?
well, it is, let's go down to this. This is the existing 1-car garage. So typically it's a 400 square foot exemption. But that it's 2, we're taking just half that up.
Where's this 400 square foot exemption at in the code? I've never seen it.
For a garage exemption?
Yes.
It's,
When you're calculating gross square footage, you don't get to remove the garage unless it's basement.
well, this calculation is simply FAR, not so much gross. What counts towards FAR? Sorry, I'm kind of moving it around. Yeah, this isn't gross. This is just the floor area, the allowable floor area.
That's what floor area ratio is. You take your building gross square footage and you divide it by the area of the site. So it is included in there. It doesn't make a difference in your overall square
Right.
footage. Don't go over on your FAR, but you still have to tell me where this garage exemption is because I want to use it every day. And it's not there in the code.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm gonna side with Mark on this one. He
Yeah.
knows his code.
We okay.
Yeah, we've never seen that. We've never.
I will look at that then.
Yeah.
We've
you could
used
find-
this. Sorry, go ahead.
Tell me if you've used it because I want to know. for myself.
For sure. No, let me, I could review that and I'll send Joe an email.
Yeah, send Joe, because what you're proposing is a 52% where you're allowed 58%, which you're allowed over
Right.
4,000. And if
Right.
you add that in there, you're only at 38, so you're still under.
We're still under, you're right.
Yeah, so that was the only thing I saw on there. The existing house, did they get in a permit for that addition they did on the house? Has that been permitted?
It was.
It was, all right, because you look at that and you go, well, that's just a bad example of how you'd add an addition onto a house. But your ADU in the back is much nicer.
Thank
So,
you.
Oh, it's tremendously nicer than that addition.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve this one.
I'll second that.
No exactly.
And that was Brad for the second.
Right.
All right, all in favor? That
That's
looks like
unanimous.
a
Dan, Joe.
5-0.
All right. Good job, Rodrigo.
Rodrigo, we will see
Thank
you
you.
next
Thank you,
Thursday night.
Rodrigo.
For
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah, and I'll send you the code thing, Mark, through via Joe. But thank you.
Yeah.
Mark, you know I will send it to you.
Oh, yeah. No, that would be great if we could find that in the code somewhere.
Well, we've been through that years ago with the open carports and the this and that. We went through that whole thing. I've never, all the projects we reviewed, never heard that. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot. You take care. We'll see you next
too. Have a
week,
great night.
6 o'clock next Thursday.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, team, we've got this one more comment item, this ADU recommendation to the city of San Diego. I have a 4:45 meeting. I don't know if I can tell them to wait a few minutes or if we think this is going to turn into an hour-long discussion. So can someone please just chime in on how we want to handle that?
What I don't understand is why they're trying to do this 16-foot height thing. That's the thing
I
that just
don't
jumps
know.
out.
I don't know.
What is
Brett.
that? I mean, so why do you
That's
make it
what
12
got
feet?
me.
Yeah, I mean, look at everything we approve. It's 2 stories.
30 feet. I mean,
30 feet. I mean, 16 feet. I mean, it's so arbitrary. Why don't they make it, a hip roof and 16 feet tall and or say 1 story?
or say 16 feet if it's 1 story, 30 feet if it's 2 stories. But what business of it is there if you want to have a 30-foot tall art studio?
Right. And also
There's-
I had, sorry to interrupt, Joe.
Go.
No, the presentation they gave last time where they tried to show the maximum density on a lot, it seems like you still have to meet the FAR. And they had this like 12 units, but the units that they had were 150 square feet each. How do you put a kitchen, a bathroom, and a bed in a place to eat in a 12 by 12 space?
It's just a micro unit.
I mean, but really?
I stayed in an Debbie and I stayed in an 8-foot by 16-foot converted cargo trailer micro unit just to do it. And it fit, but it was ridiculous. It was like the bed, a short wall, 3 feet for a kitchenette, a wall, and a tiny, tiny bathroom with a spiral staircase to a roof deck. But the thing that I has not yet gotten my head around is that the presentation that we all have from the city uses a type font and color scheme, and it's the ADU's presentation. And then the group that was against it used they cut and pasted using the same exact typography and style. So it was somewhat, and I did screenshots during the PCPB presentation of it, and it was a little deceptive. So I've been circulating it to my friends saying, what's your read on this? Because something doesn't quite line up to me. I'm not sure.
I didn't feel good about their tactic. And, another thing, it's just the reality of how neighborhoods transform. Nobody's going to go out. I mean, only a certain number of places sell at a time. I mean, if they make these changes that we're talking about in a broad thing, this is going to take a couple of generations to change these neighborhoods. It's just not enough turnover. No, and who's going to exercise it? Look at these people that are bringing stuff to us and they put in one ADU on the property. We're not seeing the, junior ADUs and all the other stuff that are potentially allowable because, a lot of these people are still going to be living in their house. They're not going to want to like dramatically change the neighborhood. They're going to maybe change it some. I don't know. I just think this.
I'm aware of one who wants to do 2 ADUs on a single family house up on Alessandro. That's it.
Yeah, but
Where's
Point Loma
that?
is unique too, you guys, Talmadge and all of them, they're up in arms over there because that's going to happen in the college area and those other areas. They're going to dorm it out. That's the problem. So,
Well, that's the problem. Exactly, Corla. They're going to dorm it out.
yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see some people dorm it out up near the NAS.
Yeah, they might. I don't necessarily.
You're gonna see a lot of that stuff go on. If they can make another 4,000 a month, they'll do it.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think we have to nitpick what that Neighbors for Better San Diego did, but I think we could support similar to what La Jolla did in asking the city to come more in line with the state regulations and
But then they get into
realizing-
that 16-foot thing. I can't
realizing-
support that letter because they said
Be back in a second.
exactly.
well,
They said that
this letter I'm looking at from La Jolla doesn't say that.
they said
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
gonna.
Yeah, the-
Where is it?
I read that. I read it today and I agreed with Brad. That was the fault in that letter that I didn't like. Where is it?
I mean,
I just think that, maybe we can make some changes, but I didn't like the 16-foot and I get to some degree what Joe was saying completely is just that it seemed something seemed discordant, I'm not in favor of supporting it. I know a lot of people probably will, and I'll be on the no side, but
I'm not at this time. But I do wish to table this. I do have someone waiting and we've
yeah,
already
go
gone
for it.
an hour
Go
and
for it.
52 minutes.
Well, so what do we do?
Let
Do we just tell them we didn't get a chance to discuss it?
I don't know.
You say we
So
talked,
This will take an hour at the board for
Yeah, I'm gonna have
sure.
to pull out myself.
well, can you guys not quickly agree that let's take out all those numbers. Would we not like the city to be in line with the state instead of the city's more relaxed, allowing ADUs? Can we support a general something like that so that we can't get all those units on there?
Orla, I just don't know yet.
Because
I'm not familiar enough with it
I got it.
to vote on something that's gonna affect many of us for, like someone just said, 2 decades to come.
well, I kind of agree with you here, Joe. Let's go and just table this item for this month, saying we talked about it, but there was a lot of things that we needed to do some more research on. And we may have a letter by November to the board to present something to them. I mean, I read the letter the August 28th letter, and I felt so comfortable with it because they were just asking the city to slow it down and look at it, which I think the city's going to do anyway at some point. But I think we could put our own letter together that has some of the things that we want and some things we don't want. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
keep thinking too. I keep thinking here's one that I want to throw out is that we gave up all of our development impact fees for ADUs, right? And that was one. But if you want to put 10 on your lot, I should get 9 impact fees for my community, right? It makes sense, right? You're going above and beyond what we would consider normal. Well, that would be $28,000, $30,000 at $4,000 a pop, right?
Maybe we could get a park built.
Yeah, maybe we could get a park bill, right? But we don't get those impact fees anymore because they pulled it away onto one ADU. So that was one of the things that I've always kind of said, hey, wait a minute now. I agree with everybody. In the 2.5, 3 years that we've seen these ADUs, we've only seen one ADU at a time. We've never even seen an ADU and a junior ADU come together, right? Have we ever
Right.
seen 2 ADUs?
We're
Right.
We're going to?
It's coming through my office.
Here, let me show you right now. Look, here's 10 ADUs,
Yeah.
right?
I know, Mark. I
Yeah.
know.
There's these, Brad, these are 300, 400 square foot ADUs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2 floors in the backyard of
Where
this
is
house.
this?
Where is this?
Where is this? It's in San Diego.
Yeah, that really,
Where?
yeah.
Is this like
It's
legit
not in our
happening?
community, right?
This is-
This was an owner that wanted to buy this house, asked me how many ADUs he could get in his backyard.
Is that in Point Loma?
No, this is over by the college area.
Just
Yeah,
like we were
right.
talking about. There's
Yeah.
there's your dorms.
There's your
Right.
dorms.
Yeah, they put 10.
What a
students in
nightmare
there.
place to live. My God.
Yeah.
10
Yeah,
different party
exactly.
palaces?
That's what they want to do. I mean, I think it needs to be stopped. I mean, there's no single family zone anymore. And Brad and I have talked about different things about single family zones. I'm not even getting into that discussion, but I think this is hideous, and being
Yeah.
a neighbor to that, it's hideous, and it
I'd be
needs to be
pissed
stopped.
if I owned that pool in that beautiful house next door. And I got to listen to 10 different groups of college kids screaming all
Yeah.
morning, noon and night.
Yeah, parking all up and down the street there because there's no parking area, right? And
Yep.
and then he wanted to take the garage of the house and make it a junior ADU.
I think there should be limits on numbers, I think that part I agreed with, you can have an ADU or 2 or something like that, but this is ridiculous.
This is
But-
ridiculous, but
But the 16-foot height thing is just like, that's a killer to me. I mean, I'm not going
like
that
it.
route. I don't like it. None of
Yeah,
the
what
ones,
happens,
none of the
happens-
ones we've approved.
what happens with the 16-foot ADU, I had this challenge in Oceanside where I put the ADU over the garage. Well, Oceanside rejected that height and kept the 16-foot. Well, I couldn't put the ADU over the garage because it immediately became over 16 feet.
then you suck up half the yard.
Yeah,
you
right. Then
suck
they've
up
got
half
no
the yard.
yard.
Counterintuitive.
Right.
So
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Not
That's
efficient.
the reason why the 16-foot rule was there, so you could keep them off the tops of garages,
Right. They're doing it on purpose to limit that completely. And
That's
it's
what I'm
just
gonna be
like,
doing
And
at
I don't
my
think that's
house.
a bad option. I don't know. I don't object to that option on top of a garage. I think that's a great option.
Yeah.
well, yeah,
exactly.
but I mean, at 16 feet, you can't do that. I mean, we've had one ADU that we've approved that was single story. Isn't that right? That one that was down in
very
Sunset
few.
Cliffs,
Yeah.
and everything else is over garages?
It has
Yeah.
to. It has to be.
Right.
The lots are too small and the property's too expensive.
Right. Right.
And the one I voted against was a 3-story ADU. you
Right.
know.
Oh,
I thought
right,
that was
right,
too
exactly.
much.
So
Yeah.
I think Mark's point is if we do write a letter, we'd have to write a different letter and maybe not in support of either of the ones that we've seen, and we're acknowledging that this is something that needs to be addressed, but maybe massage it to our own needs.
Okay.
Or
Well,
Yeah.
again.
I'll let you guys go.
Yeah,
We're
Robert,
at the table.
No.
This. I'm gonna call this meeting. It's 4:57. Thank you so much, everybody.
you guys are awesome.